It is our passion and our pleasure.
I am aware that during the night, during my sleep, I have a very rich dream life, and I do inner work, profound inner work. But in the morning, I'm not remembering those dreams. I want to know if the work that we do in sleep is still valid and effective, even if it's forgotten by the morning.
Yes, and in many cases, it is supposed to be forgotten by the morning because you've done the work. Move on. Follow your passion. Apply the energy. It's still there. The knowledge is there, but you have to move forward and act on things that are representative of your passion to see the result of the work that you are doing in Dreamtime. It's not about remembering it, it's about applying it. And that application will make itself evident when you take action in the direction of your passion.
Thank you.
Yes.
I live in a community, and for me, it's a wonderful process of accelerating my spiritual evolution through the constant reflection that others are for me.
Yes.
We have many rituals. We have celebrations, equinoxes, solstices, Day of the Dead, etc. And I'm asking you, in Sassani, have you already gone beyond living in communities, or is it still a valid way to grow?
Understand, again, like anything, it's a permission slip that works for you, so fine for you to use it. From our perspective, on our world, the entire planet is a community. Remember, we're all telepathically connected. We're never out of touch. Yes, there can be smaller units, smaller community units that may coalesce synchronistically for a certain purpose, such as our birthing villages that happen on certain regular timings, where many different births happen simultaneously, and then it is disbanded when those births occur. So the idea is that there are many different things that may allow members of our community to come together for a specific purpose and work together with common interests. But again, it's a fluid thing and a fluctuating thing. Not all of them last for any length of time necessarily. But again, the one that does last is the fact that the community is the planet. The planet is the community. Our entire society is one community.
And do you have rituals and celebration, or those things are obsolete?
We don't really have rituals per se. We do celebrate sometimes, but in a different way than you usually do. Nevertheless, again, remember, we are operating on pure synchronism. When people come together for the purpose of a celebration, it is automatic. And again, it lasts as long as it needs to and then disbands. But again, we don't really have rituals per se, although some individual members may choose to go through certain practices more than once, depending upon what it is they are attempting to do. But we don't consider them to be ritualistic in the same way that you do.
Thank you. One last question. We understand that most of, if not all of the ancient gods and goddesses that came to Earth were extraterrestrial, that came with their own agenda and were seen as God and goddesses by the earthlings of those times. Those ancient gods and goddesses, have they continued to relate to Earth and to be involved with Earth somehow, even though have been forgotten? And is it possible that they are even now preparing for contact with us again, of returning and reconnecting with us? And is it possible that the likes of Horus or Isis or Hathor and Quetzalcoatl are coming back to reconnect with Earthlings?
Some of them, yes. Many of them have moved on. Some of the energy has turned into archetypal versions of your collective consciousness, so you can still relate to them in whatever way you wish to, whether they come back physically or not. So there are many levels, interdimensional levels to this relationship, but some of them may return, some of them have moved on.
Thank you so much. I love you, Bashar.
Our unconditional love to you, Aveo.
Hello, Bashar. This is Carol from Hong Kong. I would like to ask about feeling guilty over someone or an animal's death because of the things that we did or we failed to do. Is there a way to ever overcome this kind of guilt? Because it really stops me from celebrating life and all the good memories that we used to have. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The question would be, did you do it intentionally? Did you learn anything from it? Will you do better next time? The animal already forgives you. So let it go and connect with the animal in spirit in a loving way. Get into the vibration of love and the connection that you may have with the animal, even after death. But if you've learned a lesson from it and will change your behavior to do things differently in your relationship with animals on the planet, then learn the lesson, apply the lesson, and move forward. Remaining in guilt allows you to only perpetuate the negativity that may have occurred in the relationship and doesn't allow you to move forward. The animal wants you to move forward, so by all means respect the animal's wishes for you by having gone on into the spirit level to lure you after it, to make that connection with you so that you can move on and move forward in a more loving way, in a more solid and harmonious relationship with all life on the planet.
Bashar, thank you so much for your work as a first contact specialist, first, let me say.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Excellent. My first question is regarding the crystal vortex in Arkansas in the Ozark Mountain area. Can you expand a little bit on the Sasquatch connections in that area?
One moment. That particular vortex has a link interdimensionally, one of them anyway, to the place, the dimension that the Sasquatch often go to remove themselves from your reality. One moment. One moment. One moment. The Ozark area is particularly strong as a interdimensional connection to a few very specific kinds of alternate or parallel realities that the Sasquatch take advantage of to remove themselves from what you consider to be your typical reality. There are sort of a network of tunnels in space-time there that can be traversed by those who know how to do so. There are many comings and goings interdimensionally in that area. Sort of very much like a Swiss cheese vortex, so to speak. Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. Is there a particular hotspot where if I wanted to go and try to connect with them that I could maybe meditate in, or a particular Sasquatch name I could meditate on?
You could call Tsemiquest. Can you repeat that?
Tsemiquest.
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 Yes, Tsemiquest, sorry.
Yes, Tsemiquest.
Yes.
You can use your own instincts to pick the spot, but it should be a spot that is mountainous and forested. Do you have access to something like that?
Yes, yes.
So do you have yourself a favorite spot that is mountainous and forested?
There are a few.
Do you have one that stands out?
Yes, Mount Nebo.
All right. Go and in a meditative state, allow yourself to open up to the vibration of Tsemiquest and see what happens.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome.
I have just a few more questions. I have a large birthmark on the outside of my right wrist that to me resembles a spaceship. Is that just a mere coincidence, or is it there to remind me, or is it a symbol of certain ET connections that I have?
You have asked the question and answered it yourself.
Excellent. That's what I thought. It's just good to have that validation sometimes. Does somebody with amalgam or mercury fillings in their teeth, having that in the body, does that create disruptions in somebody's ability to be able to make other dimensional connections?
It depends upon your belief system.
Okay. You've said before that it's not time to reveal any further information about Rh negative blood type. So I was just curious if it was time for a little bit more.
No.
Okay, fair enough. One final question. So I've been experimenting a little bit with tones in the ears and vibrations on a vibration plate, and just trying to sort of sync those up for, let's say, if I do 40 hertz in the ears, I know that sort of helps with the neurological system. And the vibrating plate maybe is also vibrating at 40 hertz. Having those two together, does that amplify and accelerate the effects?
It can, and 40 hertz, remember, is the threshold, the first threshold level neurologically in the brain that represents the gamma frequency, which is the channeling frequency.
Okay, that was my last question. Ha'atu, Bashar.
And to you, good day, Aveo.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cheryl. I'm from Toronto, and I would like to ask Bashar his insights on ableism and discrimination of the disabled. While society is going in the direction of inclusion of all minorities, the disabled are still left behind and in fact very rarely mentioned. If you could also address the hatred of disabled by many and society seeing them of no value. Many people get profoundly upset when they have to do something different for a disabled person. I see a future where everybody is included and nobody is other. Their differences will be celebrated and nurtured. But I feel and see disabled are still being left behind. And I'm having trouble with ableism, discrimination, and the outright hatred by some. Thank you. I have aphasia from stroke. I did pretty good. Thank you.
Well, first we would change the definition that many people are starting to use on your planet. Instead of disabled, differently abled. Many people will make choices from spirit to come through in a way and have an experience that creates them to be differently abled. Now, many people express the idea of hatred for this or discomfort from this because they are afraid, because it represents an idea to them of what might happen to them, and they do not wish to experience those things that they see other people experiencing. Other people who are strong enough and brave enough to limit themselves in certain ways for the purpose of finding other ways of doing things, other ways to move forward, creative, imaginative ways of being differently abled. This again expands the human experience and allows humans to see that there are many different ways to accomplish things, and that no one needs to be afraid that it's going to happen to them. But even if it does, they still then will have made the choice and an agreement on a certain level to express to the rest of humanity that you have a great potential to do things beyond the normal, beyond the typical, and that sometimes being differently abled brings this out in force, makes it very obvious when people have the creativity and imagination to overcome what appears to be a disability and truly express it as a different ability, something to explore for all humanity. It is of great service to everyone if they will take it for the lesson that it is.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day to you.
Hi. I had a question about miracles on the website. There's a quote from you that said miracles are not the exception to the rule. They are the natural order of things. Could you give more of a definition or understanding of that, please?
Well, the idea is that in your society, typically, people look at what they call a miracle as being an unusual phenomenon, something unexpected, unusual, very rare. And it is a coming together of certain ideas, experiences, influences, appearances, objects, so on and so forth, that seem to be out of the norm, seem to be beyond what you consider your typical reality to be capable of producing. But the idea is that you're creating your reality every single moment anyway. You are creating miracles all the time just by having a physical reality experience all the time, constantly, as a continuous experience. So the idea is the same, shall we say, mechanism used to create any reality experience that you are having is the same mechanism used to create what you typically refer to as miracles. It's just that for some reason at that moment, synchronistically, your mind and consciousness is open to the fact that that is being created through alignment, through synchronicity, as a relevant experience that stands out because of the meaning you have infused in it and the reflection it provides for you in a certain direction. But if you start to understand that you're doing this all the time, start to see everything as synchronicity, then you will start to see physical reality as miraculous as it actually is every single moment. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. The Holy Spirit, the Catholics, I'm a Catholic, think of the Holy Spirit as kind of the voice between us and God. Is that what you would call the higher consciousness?
In a sense, yes, although the idea that you give to the concept of the Holy Spirit can also be spirit guides, can also be aspects of all that is. It can act as a conduit no matter what form it takes. It is generally representative of the conduit of connection and communication to all that is. But it can take many forms.
Why is our society, why is guilt and shame so much a part of our society?
Because you have created a sense and an experience of disconnection from all that is. You have created a sense of disconnection from your self-worth and your self-empowerment. Therefore, what comes with that experience of disconnection, not that you're actually disconnected, because that's not possible, but what comes with the experience of disconnection is the shame that goes with the idea of not belonging, not being connected anymore, considering yourself to be less than and unworthy. And that is simply the side effects that happen from that negative state of being. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Are there any writings that are available that would better reflect the teachings of Jesus?
Yes, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Bashar. I appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.
What makes us special as human race compared to other members of Interstellar Alliance? Why did you decide to pick us specifically to be a member of the Interstellar Alliance? And at what point in our history and why was that decided?
You are our ancestors. We are literally genetically connected to you. We are family. The idea of the demarcation line was when the hybridization agenda began, about 6,000 years ago in your terms of understanding. So the idea is that we are connected. We are family. That's the difference, specifically. The story involves humans and hybrids and the evolution of the human race.
So are most of the beings in the Interstellar Alliance humanoid in the sense of five? No.
No. The majority are not in any way, shape, or form. But there are those that are relations, that are cousins, that are similar in terms of their evolutionary path. But no, the vast majority have nothing to do with looking like a human.
So it would be like octopi and other creatures that have sentient intelligence beyond ours, or?
Yes, and some that you can't even imagine because there is absolutely no analogy or correlation to the beings on your planet.
So how did all of these beings come together, and this, what would you say is the level of consciousness of the beings that are part of this alliance?
Those that understand and act upon the idea of whole systems.
So can you give us an example of a species we're not aware of that would look nothing like a human?
Well, we've told you about several of them. We told you about the ones that exist almost like spheres that roll around on the inside of a bubble in liquid space. We've told you about that. That's nothing like a human. Yes?
Yes.
We will go into different varieties of extraterrestrials that are non-human at another time in another transmission.
It almost seems like there's some sort of an organizing body that would then create the ability for all these different types of beings to be able to connect in.
As we have told you in the formula, the natural result of following it and understanding whole systems is the organizing principle of synchronicity. Therefore, synchronicity is the organizing mechanism that brings all of these beings together.
It's absolutely fascinating. So our little corner of the reality where we have humanoid types that we're interacting with, essentially, as our first contact experiences.
Yes. Will make it a smoother transition for many of you because it's something relatively familiar.
And is that by a grand plan, or is that something that the Alliance orchestrates for that very specific reason?
It is synchronicity and also amplified and magnified by the Alliance.
So something happens when all these consciousnesses join together and form this alliance?
Oh, yes. We'll go into that at another time as well.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. Okay, so
as you move more deeply into the idea of membership in the Alliance, there will be many things to explain and describe to you that will go beyond what you typically think of as interactions with extraterrestrial beings. We will give you a fuller picture of what it means to be a member of the Alliance. This will happen sometime in the window of open contact, which begins next year of your time in 2023.
At what age did you first learn about Earth? Was the Earth you encountered in our timeline or in your timeline? And these are multiple questions here. And do the Earths from different timelines actually message one another? And if so, how did they do it?
In your terms of understanding, I was about, well, somewhere between 5 and 7, because our year is not the same as your year, in which I was trained by my father as a contact specialist and began to be told about the idea of your timeline of Earth. There are other timelines of Earth, of course, that have hybridization agendas and other versions, to put it linearly, of myself and others that interact with them. Communication between various Earths sometimes happen between or through the devices of first contact specialists that might be able and capable of projecting their consciousness into parallel realities, but some versions of Earth actually have the wherewithal, either biologically or technologically, of communicating with other parallel versions of Earth and downloading information and sharing information between them. In the same way you might have diplomatic relations with another country, there are versions of Earth that have diplomatic relations of other versions of Earth in parallel realities.
Okay, thank you. Would you say that humans have the widest range of emotions out of all the species you've encountered? And what's the purpose of all these different emotions?
No, it is not the widest range that we have encountered. There are some species that have many different kinds of emotions that are not even possible for you to have in your biology. Secondly, as we have said, emotions usually are that which is used by belief systems as a reinforcing factor along with thoughts and behaviors to make the belief system seem real, to seem factual, by making you feel that they're real. So emotions are usually utilized, though there are some exceptions, by belief systems to make them seem more solid, more factual, more real, so that you can continue to have a physical experience. It's a reinforcing mechanism used by belief systems. Remember that if you didn't feel that your beliefs were real, you would really not have a deeper understanding or experience of physical reality. It would be kind of like looking at a two-dimensional image.
So, for example, when we start creating androids that are more and more human-like, will they actually start to experience emotions like we do?
Of a type, yes. They may not necessarily always be emotions like you understand or experience them, but yes, they will experience the idea of emotions to a certain degree, but some of them may be experienced in a very different way.
It almost sounds like they would have the ability to separate from emotions more easily than humans.
It depends on their programming and their purpose for being.
I guess we can explore that later, but I could just see where different types of negative behaviors that humans express, would those be programmed into androids also?
As we have said, the challenge for humans with regard to artificial intelligence is not so much the idea of allowing them to become intelligent, but not allowing them to become intelligent enough. True intelligence understands whole systems and would never negate a part of that system in any way, shape, or form. So only by making androids too similar to humans will you encounter some of the fear-based scenarios that you might expect. But when allowed to be fully intelligent, those scenarios simply don't exist in an understanding of whole systems.
How much time would you say is it going to take before androids become a much more common part of our society where they actually look like humans and do functions maybe like slavery in a sense, because they're able to do these things for us and we no longer would have to?
It doesn't have to be formatted like slavery. They can be given freedom of choice because, again, remember, that question only comes from a lack of understanding of what true intelligence is all about. Again, when something understands whole systems, it is in their nature to be of service to those systems. Not as a slave, but as a freely given service, because it understands that it's enhancing itself while it's enhancing the whole system. In about 20 years, give or take.
Wow. It's pretty fascinating. This person is saying that many years ago they saw a fairy who sprinkled golden fairy dust on their head. She was transparent and she could see her body and wings, and they were red and green. What can you tell us about that encounter?
Well, again, an encounter with an elemental made out of the collective clay of consciousness of your world that can shift into physical and non-physical reality at will, by choice. The idea of the so-called fairy dust is an elemental form of understanding the basic building blocks of physical reality expressed in energy forms. Some might say they might be representative of monatomic elements, but they are really a transitional form of energy between physical and non-physicality. Sort of a materialization of energy motes, energy atoms, if you want to use that term. The raw material out of which an elemental can physicalize itself. So you're being gifted with the material that the elemental is using to create its very body. Sort of an expression of giving of itself, sharing of itself, giving you the fairy dust, so to speak.
Love it. Sounds like Peter Pan.
Yes, we understand the analogy, but it's not so much about Peter Pan as it is about Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell. This person wants to know about fighting illness, that the warlike victim perpetrator mentality is something that human beings are exploring. And even in our own bodies, we have special cells that fight off invaders. Can you give us a more positive way to look at what is happening as we go through an illness other than fighting it off?
Yes, if you actually pay attention to the mechanisms inside your body, you will understand that your body doesn't fight off invaders. It incorporates them and absorbs them and transforms them. It allows them to pass on, so to speak, to a different state that is no longer harmful to the body. So you need a deeper understanding of the mechanisms that are actually going on in your body so that you don't look at it as a war or a fighting situation, because that's not what's happening. It's a vibrational shift to a different state of being. It's not a fight. And so therefore, with regard to illness, more acceptance of why the illness is there will allow it to transform more quickly by understanding the lessons that it is there to teach you based on your belief systems.
So some people have dreams where they're communicating with the illness and it's fraught with tension and desperation to survive type thing. And then others have sort of a loving communication with another consciousness.
Yes, there you go. The different ways you can relate to the idea of the consciousness of the illness itself and the purpose that it may serve to teach you more about your belief systems and who you really are and what you're capable of doing. So it's not about fighting. It's about relating. It's about communication. It's about understanding and letting it pass on into a different state once you have learned the lesson, once you have absorbed the meaning.
So from the standpoint of resonance, many people might be frightened by the idea of resonating with the consciousness of an illness that they are, in a sense, attempting to surmount.
Yes.
And that would be one of the first steps of allowing yourself to have communication with it and asking it what it is attempting to show you.
Just like an emotion, like fear. You make it your friend. You listen to the message that it's there to tell you, because fear is telling you that your energy is out of alignment because you're filtering it through a negative fear-based vibration or belief system. Similarly, that's in a sense what an illness is a physicalized version of fear, telling you that something's out of whack, something's out of alignment, whether it be your energy or your beliefs or something else. Pay attention to it. It's there to actually help you transform yourself in a variety of ways. It's only in the resistance and the fighting of it that it lasts longer.
So much communication is available to us from so many different sources. It's really quite amazing.
And as we have shared with you many times, communication is one of the forms of abundance. So express your abundance through communication because it will give you new ideas, new perspectives. It will allow others to join you in new ways that you may not have thought as possible, to communicate your true self and engage others, including the idea of other levels of consciousness, in a new kind of a relationship that can allow you to transform in the direction you prefer, much more quickly.
And can you touch on ways that we can balance the chakras or energy centers of the body?
Follow the formula for now. Let's keep it simple.
Okay.
Of course, attract yourself to whatever permission slip you feel will work for you. But let's bring it down to its simplest form. Follow the formula, and you will be in balance.
And this person is talking about the space between emotions. Can you speak on the space between emotions, thought, and behavior as builders of our reality based on beliefs in our body and DNA that we carry these stories from our ancestors?
Well, again, you're creating that in the present. Remember, it doesn't really come from the ancestors. You're creating a story in the present about the ancestors and just using it to make a relational idea. But the space between the emotions and the idea of your beliefs and actions and so on and so forth, this is what we refer to many times as the template level reality in non-physical reality that sort of sets the stage for what you will experience in physical terms. So it's the template level reality that is the space between the emotions that's being referred to.
And so when we shift from anger into neutrality, you've created a space between emotions right there, right?
You have altered the template level reality. Yes.
See. And
as above, so below. The as above is the template. The so below is the manifestation of the template. Change the above, the below has to change. That's the space between.
Interesting. You have mentioned that multiple personalities are not what we think. Can you explain what that's all about and if there's such a thing as possession And can people be possessed by demons? And how does this all relate to the idea of channeling?
There is no such thing as possession in the classical sense. Again, you may match and align with a frequency of something negative and take on the qualities for yourself, but in a sense, all you are doing is possessing yourself in a different way. You're expressing yourself by matching a frequency that is out of alignment with who you truly are. That's what you typically refer to as possession. So the idea is letting go of that, changing your belief system, knowing that it's you that's choosing this and doing this to yourself is what allows you to be dispossessed, so to speak. The idea is that multiple personalities often are representative of connecting to different aspects of your own personality. The idea of disorder comes from certain negative and fear-based beliefs, but you can have multiple personality order as well, which brings us to the idea of channeling. Because all you're doing is allowing different aspects of your own personality to align with either higher levels of your own consciousness or other consciousnesses, and giving a representative of those consciousnesses having the same thoughts at the same time. So again, it's all about resonance, it's all about alignment, it's all about choice, but you are inviolate. You are your own being. Nothing can enter you or possess you in that sense. There is no room in you for anything but you. Nothing can enter. But you can align with other things and express versions of those things through your own energy in any way, shape, or form that you so desire, or choose to, or think you have to. You are connecting sometimes to parallel versions of yourself in terms of the expressions of multiple personalities. And again, in the future, there will be parallel reality psychology that will understand this and start to connect people to different parallel versions of themselves in other versions of Earth, and understand how to coordinate those versions in a way that makes sense in your version.
Amazing. Amazing. It always comes down to that idea of resonance and what you choose to resonate with.
That's
and
all
then
it is.
you become that representation.
Yes.
The more highly focused you are in that direction.
You are all tuning forks. That's what you are. You vibrate in accordance to what you believe you need to vibrate in accordance to, and that will be the expression you give off. It's all about you. It's all about your power to choose. And it's all about resonating and aligning with a frequency that you deem for some reason is important for you to align with, positively or negatively.
And can individuals, in a sense, be entrained to suffer as a physical being? And so the connections that they make continue to generate that state of being?
Of course. It's all about your training. It's all about what you've been taught to buy into as necessary for you, or it's part of your themes to transform it.
So you have to recognize that if you're experiencing suffering, the reason it's there is to give you an opportunity to transform it.
Yes, of course.
So we had some questions about UFOs having to do with Ukraine.
Yes.
And the National Academy of Sciences in Ukraine says the skies over Kiev are swimming with UFOs.
Yes.
And they use some sort of special calibrated cameras, and they can see lots of objects that are not identified. Can you confirm that UFOs or UAPs are monitoring the situation in Kiev?
Absolutely. In a sense, if you want, it's where the action is on your planet right now, at least one of the spots. And therefore, it's a good barometer for where the choices are that are being made, what direction they're going in, and which version of Earth will become the versions, or of Earth, versions plural, of Earth, will become those that are open to open contact. So again, we monitor all these kinds of things to determine which version is more likely than other versions to become the versions that we will make contact with. And also to see exactly what it is you're choosing to experience and what kind of transformations you will create on your world.
Is there a frequency range that would be most applicable to contact? In other words, does a human being need to be at a certain frequency in order to experience ET contact?
For the moment of contact, yes, they don't always have to be at that frequency, and many people are not. Some people, again, remember, you're all very compartmentalized in your consciousness, and certain compartments in your consciousness don't have to be anywhere near the frequency of contact, but sometimes other compartments can be. So it may seem to be quite a dichotomy, and you say, well, how can that person, they don't seem to be very spiritual, all of a sudden have contact with an extraterrestrial being? It's because the compartment that contains the frequency that has nothing to do with the theme they're exploring can suddenly jump to a level where they can have that contact. But what they do with it will be determined by usually the rest of the compartments in their belief system.
And so is there a frequency range that you would describe would be most applicable to having contact?
Well, gamma and higher.
It's gamma.
Yes, 40 cycles to 100 cycles per second in the brain, which again is automatic when you follow the formula. Therefore, we're giving you something that makes it more likely and more probable that you will have contact if you stay there.
So if most of humanity is focused somewhere between 40,000 and 80,000 cycles per second,
Yes.
and there's really a wide range of beings that can have contact with other dimensions.
Well, yes, and I didn't say that everyone on Earth would have contact.
Right. But it's just kind of understanding that the frequency range that you have to be at, so to speak, in order to experience contact is really nothing like 333,000.
Oh, no, not at all. And again, remember, not every type of extra-dimensional being requires a high frequency, because some of them themselves are not necessarily that high. That's why people can interact with the Greys, because they're just other versions of mutated humans.
What frequency range do the Greys express?
No, somewhere around the 50,000 cycle idea, generally. So many humans can experience them because they're just other versions of you.
And the human being that really has incorporated your ideas and has that positive, interactive attitude and energy, what frequency range does that generally represent on a day-to-day basis kind of thing?
At least 80,000. At least. Generally, more above 100.
So, because I know that the channel can express a lot of positive energy and that he's done really well with the formula in understanding how to express it. So what kind of frequency range is he experiencing now that he's able to do that?
Typically, about 150,000 cycles per second on average. He will have peaks and valleys, but on average, about 150,000 to 175,000 cycles per second. When he's in the true creative mode, it can spike above 200.
It's really inspiring.
Yes.
See if there's anything else I can ask you now that we're pretty much out of time.
You can ask us if it's time for people to go into their meditation.
Yes, right. So, yes, if there's anything else that you'd like to share before we go forward.
It is important to go forward. So we would encourage all of you to start to resonate with your meditation. So get relaxed and go forth.
Thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome. Aveo.
Ave.
And now enjoy your meditation. To you, good day.
I grew up in I'm going to try not to get emotional.
Well, that's all right. You can get emotional. There's nothing wrong with being emotional.
I grew up in what I now recognize as a religious cult, and I grew up with a lot of fear of
Yes.
life, basically.
Oh, all right. Well, how exciting for you.
I'm having trouble letting go of that fear in order to move forward.
All right. Well,
with
what
my
are you afraid will happen if you do let go?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Do you have a good answer?
Not really.
Sure you do. Just think about it for a moment. What are you afraid will happen to you if you let go of the fear? There's a paradox there, isn't there?
There is.
So you're saying, I want to let go of the fear, but I'm afraid something will happen if I do. What are you afraid will happen? Come on, use your imagination. I know you people can come up with amazing nightmares. So come on. This is the way to get at it. This is what we're attempting to show you right now. This is the way to get at it.
Right.
This is the way to answer the question for yourself. If you can't find the answer of what it is you believe to be true, what it is you're defining to be true, just by asking, well, what would I have to believe is true in order to feel the way I do, which is fine. Sometimes because you're so used to the idea of fear, because you've been entrained into the idea of fear, you can use the fear in a positive way to drive the answer to the surface by being willing to hear the answer when you ask the question, what am I actually terrified will happen if I allow myself to be who I prefer to be? And if you're willing to hear the answer will come.
I'm afraid that I will lose my family who are still trapped in that cult.
I see. But not that anything is ever really lost, but in a sense, haven't you lost them already?
Yes.
Therefore, that's not something that will happen. It's something you're saying already exists.
Yes, there's definitely been a drawing apart the more I become true to myself and walk away from those beliefs.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
So remember, please, as we have just explained, you can do whatever you can, whatever you feel is in alignment with your truth, to aid and assist them, to give them an option to change their point of view if they so desire. But if they desire not to, maybe they need to be on that path just as you did for a while in order to learn what they really need to learn. You don't know. You understand?
Yes.
But that shouldn't stop you from becoming more of who you prefer to be. And in fact, the more you are willing to become more of who you really are, the more capable you will be of actually being able to help them should they ultimately desire your assistance. Whereas if you just remain in the fear, all you're doing is remaining within the parameters that you were in with them before, and you're reinforcing that energy for them too, because you're not showing them that there can be a difference. And you're not showing yourself that there can be a difference. Does this make sense?
Yes, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Is this helping?
Absolutely.
So if you move forward in your true joy, is there anything really to be afraid of?
No.
You know that. Yes?
I know that intellectually.
Oh, there's that lovely phrase that you people use. I know that intellectually.
I'm learning it. I will say that
All
I am learning it.
You are in process of learning that. And in that process, what you're going to do is you're going to discover more and more definitions that are out of alignment with who you prefer to be, and you're going to go through the process of letting them go. Yes?
Yes.
Letting them go so you can grow. Yes?
Yes.
All right, so that's your process. Anything wrong with that?
No.
All right, so are you having fun with that process?
Yes.
Anytime you feel fear, use the fear in a positive way. Redefine it so that it becomes a messenger knocking on your door to let you know that you have a definition that doesn't work for you, that you're still holding on to. So when you feel the fear, say, thank you, fear, for bringing that to my attention. Let me find out what that is so that if it's not what I prefer, I can let it go. And that's how you use fear in a positive way. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Is this helping you?
Yes, very much.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Pleasure to meet you.
And you as well.
My question kind of has two parts. The
Oh,
first
all right.
part is, do dreams come in the service of health and wholeness for individuals in the society?
Do they come in the service of health and wholeness?
Do we dream in a sense, is that a way of healing ourselves?
It's one way, yes. It's not the only way, but it's one way you can use dreams as a representation of the things that need to be rebalanced, and sometimes the rebalancing can actually happen in the dream state.
Okay.
It
And
just
so
depends.
how can I help people, or because I'm also working towards MFT licensure as a therapist.
Yes.
And
this excites you?
It does.
All right.
It does. And I'd like to be able to utilize this in a way to assist people in their own becoming.
All right. Well, what's
themselves.
stopping you?
Oh, nothing. I just would like to know if there is a better way or
A better way?
good way to use the dreams to help people.
The way that you're most excited to use them is the best way.
Okay.
Don't you trust your imagination?
Yes.
Well, then don't you understand that the permission slips you attract because those are the ones at that moment that will work best with your belief system?
Oh, no, I didn't think about that.
Oh, well, now you can. That's how it works. You attract what works for you as a symbol, as a permission slip, as a mechanism.
Okay.
That's why you attract it, because it's in alignment with your belief system in such a way that allows you to be willing to give yourself permission to be more of who you are. And in working with other people, you will also attract whatever permission slip will allow you to be most effective. Now, you have to have no insistence or assumption as to what you think they're going to get out of it. Mm-hmm. Because different people will come to you for a variety of different reasons, and not all of them will be what you expect. Mm-hmm. You can even attract someone for the exact opposite reason you assume they might be coming to you. Someone might be very insistent that they simply cannot be healed. I'm going to go to a healer and I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove that no one can heal me. There I went. See, nothing happened. Ha, told you.
Yeah.
But you have helped them because what they actually came to you for was a reinforcement of something they already believe and want to hold on to. So you help them. Mm-hmm. They don't have to heal in the way you think they do in order for you to be of help just by being there. Just by being a sounding board, just by being an experience. They will use it however they need to. You just need to be there. Make sense?
It does.
You can give them the vibration that may represent the healed state. If they choose to align with it, they can experience the balancing and the healing. But they don't have to choose to align with it. Your healing must be unconditional to really be healing. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Is this helping?
Yes, thank you very much.
And anything else?
I had a question, but I kind of answered it while you were talking.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
So nice to meet you.
And you as well.
I have so much love for you.
Our unconditional love to you as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For some reason, everything you say really resonates with me.
For some reason, yes. It's because you're aligned with this frequency in terms of how you need to receive information.
I have a question
Yes.
regarding myself.
Yes.
Hopefully, maybe you can help me.
Maybe I can.
Figure
Maybe
this
I
out.
can't. We'll find out together.
Okay. I have been doing stock options trading for 10 years plus.
Oh, all right. This excites you?
It does, but it hasn't served me.
It hasn't served you?
No, because I lose more money than I make.
Then it has served you. It has served you very well. Maybe it's serving you by telling you maybe this isn't the way to go for you.
Yes, but
Maybe you need to put more stock in yourself.
Why would an intelligent person like me keep doing it for like 10 years?
That's a very intelligent question.
But it still excites me. And I'm trying to follow my excitement.
Are you sure it's really excitement? That's the first thing to always check. Are you actually acting on excitement, or are you actually acting out of anxiety and calling it excitement in a state of denial? Because you might be afraid to actually do the thing that really excites you, because you have a definition that it can't support you somehow? Just a question. But you can think about that for a moment.
Yes, perhaps.
Yes, perhaps. All right. Let me put it to you this way. If it wasn't an issue of how it could be helped to happen, what would you rather be doing if you could do anything?
I would like to awaken people to their own health, because I'm always telling families and friends and...
Are you saying that that's really exciting for you?
That is really exciting for me.
Is it more exciting than investing in stocks?
Well, stocks has a different kind of excitement.
I understand, but I'm asking you a question right now.
Is it more exciting?
Right now is that idea, if
Yes.
you knew you could do
Yes.
it, that's more exciting.
Yes.
All right, so what can you do to invest in that first? Because if the stocks actually are representative of one of your expressions of real excitement, the only way you're going to allow it to synchronize and harmonize in a way that really serves you in your life is to act on the thing that excites you the most first and allow that to be the driving engine and the organizing principle of every other expression of excitement that will then automatically play out through synchronicity in your life to show you what you need to do, in what order, and when. This is how you understand how to use excitement, because it is, as we have said many times, a complete kit. It has all the tools you need. It has the driving engine that moves you forward. It has the organizing principle that brings you the synchronicity. It is the path of least resistance. It is the path that connects you to all other forms of excitement in your life. It is the reflective mirror that reveals to you anything that's out of alignment with your excitement so that you can identify it and let it go and add that energy to your excitement. It leaves absolutely nothing relevant out of your life. But the only way it really works in the way that you would prefer it to is by activating it, by acting on the thing that excites you the most to the best of your ability first, with no insistence on a particular outcome. That's how the formula activates the kit. So if you act on the thing that excites you the most first to the best that you are able to, until you can take it no further, and then look for the next option, and act on whichever one contains even just a little bit more excitement than any other option, no matter what it is, no matter how simple it seems, no matter how basic, no matter how mundane it may seem, if it contains even just a little bit more excitement than any other option at that moment, that's your synchronicity, that's your higher mind saying, this is the thing to do next. If investing in stocks is in the mix somewhere of what really represents one expression of your excitement, it will be put into the mix in the proper order. Synchronicity will organize it to let you know when it is actually the appropriate time to act on that expression of your excitement as opposed to any other. If it never shows up, that's not what serves you. Are you beginning to understand how this machine works?
Yes. What I'm hearing is acting on your most excitement right now.
To the best of your ability.
To the best of your ability.
With zero insistence on a particular outcome. I know that that's a challenge for a lot of you. Zero insistence on a specific outcome. Do you understand why that's important?
Because your higher self is going to show you what you can't see in this form.
Exactly. And the physical mind can't always tell what that's going to be. But it will always be what's actually best for you. So the idea of having an image, a symbol, a goal, whatever you want to call it, a visualization, that's fine. But you use that to instill the state of being of excitement within you, because you get excited when you think about that goal, when you have that idea, when you see that visualization, it gets you excited. Oh yes, this is the best thing that could possibly happen. This is the best outcome I can imagine. That's fine. But once you get all excited about what it is you're seeing or thinking about, drop the goal, drop the vision utterly. Let it go, because you don't actually know if that representation is the best possible representation of that level of excitement. But your higher mind does know what the best representation is. And if you make space by dropping that picture, then you will allow the higher mind to fill that space with what really needs to be there. And in fact, if you understand that the physical mind has its limitations, then you will know that what the physical mind might think or believe to be the ideal outcome may actually be a limitation on the ideal outcome. So why would you prefer that? Does this make sense?
Yes, because, probably like most people, I bought into the idea 10 years ago when I wanted to do this as a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
To be with my children, and then I got like in a habit of doing it. But I was putting forth from my physical mind to say, well, if I can make X amount of dollars, then I can do all this other stuff.
Making a lot of dollars doesn't always make the most sense. Do you understand? Because abundance is simply the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it.
I've heard you say that, yes.
All right. Well, if you've heard it, maybe you want to start practicing it. Because the idea is, it doesn't mean that you can't attract money into your life. That's one legitimate representation of abundance on your planet. It's a symbol of abundance. But that's all it is. It's a symbol, one symbol. If someone comes along and gives you something that allows you to do what you need to do, that's also a symbol of abundance. So if you know that it would be easier, the path of least resistance, for someone to actually come along and say, hey, you know what, I don't need this anymore, maybe you can use it, and it's exactly what you needed, would you actually put your foot down and say, no, thank you, I'm going to wait until I make enough money to get that. I'm not going to take it from you as a gift. Would you do that? Of course not. Do you understand?
Yes, there's more than one path to.
And when you focus only on one representation of abundance, you actually close the doors through which other forms can come.
I think that's what I've been doing.
I know. That's why I said what you need to be investing in is your own stock. So take stock of what your beliefs are and invest in yourself so that you can appreciate yourself more. Yes?
Yes.
And when you appreciate yourself fully, you will be rich beyond your wildest dreams in more ways than you can imagine. Because you already are abundant. You all are already fully abundant. The issue is not learning to be abundant. The issue is learning what to be abundant in. Because you are always abundant in something, even if it's an abundance of lack. You cannot lack abundance, but you can have an abundance of lack. So if you don't prefer an abundance of lack, choose a different form of abundance. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You cannot not be abundant. That's not possible. It's your nature. Everything exists right here, right now. Everything you need is here and now. When you allow yourself to exist in the here and now, you will begin to perceive what is also with you in the here and now that is reflective of your true abundant nature. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Your stock just went up.
I have another question.
Yes.
About the concept or the idea of parallel realities.
Yes. So, you're going through billions of them every second to create the side effect you call time.
Right.
Right. I didn't understand a word he just said, but I'll go along with it.
Well, okay. So if everything is happening at the same...
All at once, yes.
All at once.
Yes.
Which then, so in other words, there's another me somewhere having a life.
Another version, actually millions and billions of other versions of what you consider to be you having other lives.
And that's all happening at the same time.
Right here, right now.
Right
you just
here.
can't see them because the vibrational patterns are different than what you can perceive. Just again, simply enough, by analogy, like your television. At any given moment, there are dozens of programs playing all at once. You only see the one you're tuned to. Change the channel, you get another one. The other one is still playing. They all happen at the same time. It's just a matter of frequency as to what you can perceive.
Then if I shift my frequency,
you shift to a parallel version of you, which is what you're doing to create the concept, the illusion, the experience of change, time, growth. That's what you're doing. Every single parallel reality is actually just a frozen frame. You have to move through the frames with your consciousness like a projector light in order to create the illusion of movement and change and time and space. So by doing that, you're creating this idea of what appears to be the same you going through some changes, but it's not. It never is the same you. You are an absolutely, utterly, completely different version of you billions of times per second, existing in billions of different versions of Earth. But that's what you call time. That's how you create the space-time illusion. Because you are essentially a timeless being. So how can you discover something new about yourself if you only experience timelessness? You have to forget who you are and impose upon that new clean slate an idea called space-time that allows you to have an experience of discovering yourself for the first time in a new situation from a new perspective so that you can have a new experience. So the structure of existence never changes, but your perspective of it does, and that's what expands creation. The changes in your perspective of a structure that never changes. That's the paradox. Is this helping, or am I just confusing you?
Yes, but...
Yes, I'm confusing you, or I'm helping?
No, I'm still sort of stuck on, then what distinguishes my consciousness in this time-space reality?
You mean this one?
Well,
or this one?
This body,
or this one?
this earth.
Or this one? Or this one?
But then why can't I, see myself when I was in Atlantis?
Sometimes people can. It depends upon your perspective and definition of the idea of what creates a barrier between what you consider to be different times. Of course, it's not always relevant for someone to have that ability. Doesn't mean you have to be able to do that to live a full life. And sometimes being able to experience or connect more strongly, more consciously into a parallel life going on right now in Atlantis doesn't necessarily always benefit what theme you're exploring right here and now. Conversely, you are always downloading information from all those different parallel versions when you need them, whether you know you are doing so or not. And again, the point may be that you're downloading information and experience as you need to apply it in your life, and stopping to figure out where it's exactly coming from may actually slow the process down, and you may not really actually prefer to do that. So you're doing it all the time, you're connecting all the time, you're drawing information from all those parallel lives all the time, or at least many of them, just as they are doing with you, drawing upon your experiences as they need them in their lives. Because from the physical level, those people are their own people. They're not you. You are you, they are they. And you're making that cross connection from the present. There's no such thing as the past. That's an illusion. All lives exist now. Therefore, you make a connection to them as you need information from them. But because you are coming from a space-time perspective, you interpret that connection as a past connection, as a memory. But you're creating that right now, in the present, billions of times a second, over and over and over again, to create a sense of continuity for yourself, in order for you to have a space-time linear experience. Is any of this sinking in?
Yeah, it sounds like it's all about frequency.
Very good. It is. It's all about frequency, because that's really the only thing that can differentiate what is essentially a homogeneous medium. The one is a homogeneous medium. It's all one, yes? So anything you perceive as a difference has to be the one expressing itself at a different frequency in order to appear to be something else. Make sense?
Yes.
So it's all about resonance. It's all about frequency.
So is that the same reason why I heard you say the toxins, chemtrails, whatnot, it doesn't have to be our reality if we are not vibrating in that frequency?
If you have the capacity to truly know that you are living a completely different truth than someone else, then you will experience a completely different physical reality. You have given yourself many different kinds of symbols or representations of this idea. In other words, one sample, one example, one symbol is many of your medical doctors have discovered that people on your planet with what you call multiple personality disorder, which is not really that thing, but nevertheless, one personality can actually have a cancerous tumor. The minute they switch to another personality, that cancerous tumor is gone. Instantly. Because they literally, truly are another personality believing a whole other reality. So it can be done, and it is done all the time. But you have to be able to wrap your mind around the fact that that's how it actually works in order for you to know that you can do that consciously and intentionally. But that's part of the process of what many of you are learning in this age of transformation. So let it be okay that it's a process. That's what life is all about anyway.
So in other words, based on your multiple personality example,
yes,
if I were to know that, chemtrails really exist and there's aluminum, whatnot being sprayed.
Yes.
But if
if you know that they can have no effect on you, they will not.
Got it.
You can neutrally observe realities that you don't have to experience everything of. That's one of the traits of the new transformational age on your planet. You can observe people that have reality experiences that you don't have to experience, and just observing them neutrally doesn't mean you have to be affected by them. It's just information for you, perhaps even to be able to help them make a change too. You have to be aware of what they're going through in order to help them know they can change. So you have to be aware that there are other realities you could be experiencing, but are not relevant for you.
So we have the power to neutrally observe what is.
Absolutely.
And not let...
That's the balance point. You see, many of you talk about your physical reality as if it's actually a polarity, a duality. It's not. It's a trinity. Between the light and the dark, the positive and negative, there is always the center point, the balance point. And the big secret is because it's an actual true balance point, which gives you the conscious ability to choose what you prefer, that means creation is actually very slightly biased in the direction of the positive. So if you did nothing else but just let go, utterly let go, the natural currents in creation would carry you toward the positive side eventually.
All right, let's say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Thank you. I have a question for all of you. Do you have a soul?
Yes.
No. What does he mean by that? Of course we have souls. No. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. So, this perspective can change a lot of things in the way that you experience physical reality because you're creating it. It's a projection of your consciousness. And here, fundamentally, is how you do this. Now imagine, if you will, that you are a soul, an orb of light. So picture this in your mind. You are this sphere, this orb of light. And within it, there are ripples of energy, patterns of energy. Just like dropping a pebble into the pond creates ripples. Imagine ripples in every direction inside this orb of energy, this orb of light. When a soul decides to have a physical experience, this is what happens. These ripples that all are happening inside this sphere of light, this sphere of energy, this sphere of consciousness, all these ripples represent different aspects, different qualities, different attributes of the soul. So when a soul decides to experience a theme in physical terms, some of those ripples, some of those attributes are focused on, and they condense down and down and down in a focus to the center of the orb of light. Now, that doesn't mean the orb disappears. It is still there. Only some of the aspects of it have condensed down into this tiny small bit at the center. You might call it a seed, a hard kernel, like a subatomic particle. And that small crystallized seed at the center of that orb of light is your physical mind. That is how the soul creates its experience of physical reality. It creates a focus, it creates a dream experience within the center of its being, taking some of the qualities, some of the attributes, some of the aspects of its total self, crystallizing them, focusing down into that little center seed, that little center crystal. And that center crystal contains those attributes that represent the theme that being will explore as a physical being in that physical dream at the center of the soul. So when that life is over, the soul doesn't leave the body. The crystal seed starts to expand again, starts to open up again, starts to soften, and starts to merge back with and into itself as the soul. So that is what death is simply the awakening from the dream state, from the little crystallized seed at the center of the soul. And the idea of the expansion of consciousness overall is what begins that process of opening up. It doesn't mean that just expanding your consciousness means you have to die physically, but the idea is that you open up and you are a little bit like a small open sphere inside the bigger sphere. Not so concentrated, not so crystallized, not so hard, not so focused, so that you have the ability to tap into the vibration of the soul more readily, more easily. And this becomes the relationship between your physical mind and your higher mind, which is the soul, which is that portion of you that is still the sphere of light, the sphere of consciousness, the sphere of energy. That is the higher mind according to the physical kernel at the center, the physical seed. So by allowing yourself to expand a little bit, it's easier for you to, by raising your vibration, expanding that seed in the center, tap into the communication, the ripples, the information that is always coming to you from the rest of your being, the rest of you as a soul, as a sphere of consciousness, a sphere of light. By opening up a little bit, you then contain the ability within that seed, within the center of that seed, to harbor some of the vibrational frequencies of information that come to you, the messages that come to you from your soul, from the higher mind. So the idea then is that comes in an energy language, as we have said. And that energy language, that energy message from your soul self to the little seed that is more expanded, is translated by that little seed in the center, that little physical mind being in the center, as the sensation called passion, curiosity, love, creativity. And that is when you receive the message from the soul self that whatever contains that passion, whatever contains that excitement, that curiosity, that attraction, that is who you really are. That is your core frequency. That is your core theme. That is your core creativity. It is the next step on your path. And that's why it's so important to act on that passion. Because action, as the little seed, is the language of the physical reality dream. Not words, not thoughts, but actions, physical actions. Let the soul know that there is an echo from the crystal. There is a reaction, a response from the crystal that it heard the message from the soul self and is willing to act on it, willing to be guided by it, willing, in that sense, to move forward in that way, which then allows the soul to respond to that echo, and then you create that back and forth dialogue between the soul sphere and the crystal seed that is you as a physical mind, as a physical being. Does this make sense? Yes. So again, focusing on yourself as a physical being, saying, I, as a physical human, have a soul, is very different than understanding that you are a soul that is simply having a human experience, that is having a human dream. a physical reality dream. So the idea is to allow yourself to really start opening up and remembering that you never leave spirit. Spirit is your natural state. You haven't left it. Most of you is there right now. All of you is there right now. But you have this little crystalline seed portion of your greater self that is pretending, that is dreaming that it's no longer in spirit. That is what physical reality is. And when you start looking at it from that direction, you start really tapping into your innate self-empowerment, your true nature, your true core essential vibration. And many more things can happen that are more representative of alignment between your physical mind and your higher mind, so that you can really understand you are not a human being physically that has a soul. You do not have a body, and inside the body is your soul. You are a soul, and inside your soul is your body. That's the difference. So, you are a soul, you don't have a soul, you are the soul. We thank you for allowing us to share this perspective with you this day of your time. In return for the gift that you are giving us in allowing us to serve you in this way and share this knowledge, we ask, how may we continue to be of service to you? You may begin with your dialogues and questions.